Yeah, bonus Daggerfall, boys. Okay. Alright, so I'm actually going to be doing the Daggerfall speedrun at next week at RPG Loom Break, and then in July at SGDQ, Summer Games Done Quick. Here it is. Alright, so Daggerfall is part of the Elder Scrolls series. You might know Elder Scrolls from Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind. This is the second in that series. Arena is the first game, and, well man, Arena is real bad. You don't want to play Arena anything. So here we are starting off by making our character. And all you really need to know about the character creation process here is that we are tailoring our character to completely break the leveling and spell creation system here in the game. Alright, we're gonna be the law. Alright, good. So all I really want are a lot of speed here. That just lets us move faster. And then the point distribution here also kind of doesn't matter. And then we want high reflexes. All that really does is make monsters move towards us faster in dungeons. And then right there when I warped out of the dungeon, in this version of Daggerfall, which is the most recent patched version, they left in a debug code, or they specifically put in debug code. This is a little weird having fog here. They put in a debug code that lets you warp back to where your feet last touched the ground, because players were falling through the ground. So what they did in order to fix that, they gave players a way to get back in bounds easily, and in the speedrun we can abuse that, because it kind of warps us back to the beginning of dungeons a lot of times. Alright, so here we're going to make some spells, which will be useful. Earlier you might have seen me go to the bank. While I was at the bank, I took out a loan for 50,000 gold, and we are never going to pay that loan back, because we gotta go fast. So here I'm getting about 6 different spells. The leveling spell we'll see in action shortly. Teleport just lets me teleport between 2 spots. Levitate lets me fly. This spell is pretty unique. This leverages a bug that lets me do damage with infinite mana. You'll see what I mean by that later. And then last but not least, we need Slowfall as the last thing in our spellbook, because of how we're going to level soon. So, now we're going to do a brief level grind. And it's pretty brief. In Daggerfall, Daggerfall is one of the few Elder Scrolls games where you actually have to be a certain level before you can do the main quest. In Arena, you only have to be level 2, but in Daggerfall, you need to be at least like level 7-ish to actually beat the main quest. So, we do all of our leveling pretty much right up front. In order to do that, we are going to power level. So what I'm doing here is I'm spam casting every frame a spell that I made in the Mage's Guild. And you can see at the top of the screen that it's giving me skill ups like, hey, you got better at thaumaturgy, you got better at jumping. So in order to level up in Daggerfall, you have to get skill ups. And every about 20 skill ups that you get, you're awarded a level up. And only specific skills apply to that level up. And those skills, as it happens, are skills that we chose when we made our character. So not only did the skills make it easier to cast the spells here, they also just made it easier to level up as well. So what I'm doing here, I'm also jumping, running forward, and then slowly falling downwards, and that lets me jump every frame. So I'm also training jumping while I'm doing this. So we're almost level 7. Level 7 is when we cut off the grind here. We're getting very close to there. The best way to do this is to just count. But if you're doing commentary, it's kind of hard to keep count. So here we're going to do a hop down here to Chesterhead. We'll do a bit more leveling there, and then on to Wayrest. So now we can actually go and do the main quest here. So there's a fairly long quest chain that you have to do to get to the end of the main quest in Daggerfall. This one's kind of one of the first. So I'll explain that movement trick that I'm doing here a bit later, because we got a whole bunch of stuff to do right here. Here's a quick save because this game likes to crash a whole lot. I'm just doing that right here. This is going to shoot me forward, and then I want to levitate once I'm inside. And then we're going to spend a lot of Daggerfall levitating. So here we talk to her to start the quest. I need to set my teleport anchor. And then here's that hotkey that I told you about earlier. That lets us warp right back to the entrance. Because the way that works is it warps you to where your feet last touch the ground. That's the important bit, where your feet touch the ground. So if you're levitating throughout the inside of the building, your feet never touch the ground. So it'll always just warp you back to where you entered the building. And there's only one entrance and exit to interior zones like that, so it's helpful that that takes you right back to the exit. Alright, so we talked to that guy from Out of Bounds after we fell out of bounds, because Daggerfall. And then we warp back right back to the quest giver. So we talk to her, do that, save the game, just in case it crashes. Right there is a strat to get to the world map screen without loading the outside part of the world. And that saves the game loading, which saves a few seconds over the course of the run. So now we're going to Castle Daggerfall to start probably the worst quest in the speedrun, the Werewolf quest. So Daggerfall is one of the largest game worlds in pretty much all of gaming. And it might appear that things are random, but it actually isn't. There's very little that's actually random with Daggerfall. This quest is one of the few random things, though, that's like legit random. So the quest that I'm going to do here is to find a werewolf, find and kill a werewolf. That is in a semi-random dungeon in a semi-random spot. So this is completely up to luck. Okay, so we're going to the Den of Mortisteer. Den of Mord. Okay, so we got enemies nearby. This is Zombie. Zombie is for a later quest. Yeah, we kung fu through the air to... Yeah, I'm gonna do it again here. We do that to clip out of bounds immediately. Okay. Oh god. Alright, so this is already not good. So I need to find a werewolf, a particular werewolf that when I kill it, it gives me a quest update. And you might have already seen me kill a werewolf earlier, so it's not going to be there. It has to be a werewolf that when I kill it, it gives me a quest update. So it could be right here. No? So there are certain places to look in dungeons, but there is no guaranteed, like, in this dungeon it will always be here every time. That's just not a thing. Okay. Oh, it could be, it's right here. It's this one. Found it. Got it. Okay. Good. So we're on PB pace. Good. Okay. Alright, so for this quest, we're going to Knight's Cart. Make sure I anchor. Knight's Cart. So for this quest, we need to find... Oh god. Oh no, this is bad. Okay. This is not good. So for this quest, I need to find and talk to a NPC in town who is outside, and I need to ask them. Oh, damn it! I need to ask them where to find. There we go. Okay. All right, this north. Where to find an NPC? 8 days Grim Fort, and it is 18 days Grim Fort. Okay. So here I gotta do some math. Grim Forts. 10 days, so 8. I gotta do 5 and 5. So here the NPC is here for a range of time for the second leg of this quest. No, that's the fog of, hey, I see you got a good run there, how about we kill it? That's pretty much what that fog is. It does make traveling on foot slightly faster, but it really screws up navigation. Okay, so the trick I'm doing here, by the way, is called buffer jumping. For whatever reason in Daggerfall, if you hold down the jump button while hold down the jump button while clicking on the exit button for that menu, it will shoot you forward crazy fast. So we're not sure exactly how or why it works, other than, yo, it works, and that's pretty awesome. So we use that a whole lot. We can't really use that indoors very effectively, but outdoors, it's pretty cool. Like there, see that? Shot us forward. So here we're talking to this quest. This is the Lich's Soul quest. So this quest is pretty unique in that it's got another weird bug for it that we don't know why it happens. So in quest normally you'd have to return to quest NPCs to turn in quests. For that, I just clicked on that guy an additional time, and what that did was it pre-turned in the quest. So I like telepathically turn in the quest to that guy through space and time, and I don't have to go back to him. Which is pretty handy. It is pretty fast not having to return back to that guy. So now here, we are in Sentinel. Here's the big palace here. And we need to clip and bounds and go kill a lich. And here is where we see another example of that that infinite damage spell that we made. So because that spell that we made does damage health at area at range, the area at range thing is important. And we also have the character perk of spell absorption. We can cast the spell at our feet, do damage to stuff next to us, and absorb the full cost of the MP that it took to cast it. So as long as we have enough MP to cast it, we can infinitely cast that spell and do damage to stuff next to us, which is very handy. Alright, so here's another sequence break, or I guess it's the first big sequence break in the run. Normally there's 2 quests you would have to do here for this part, but all you would get at the end of those quests was a fast travel location. And as it turns out, that location just kind of exists anyways, just out in the world. So if you can get there, you don't have to do the quests. So that's what we're doing. Right now I just did a buffer jump off the top of a roof and then cast slow fall. So I'm traveling very quickly like that and slowly falling. And we're zooming across the game world right now. I can tell that I'm actually in the really fast state because I'm moving around the mouse and it's not moving my view. That's because when you're slow falling, you don't really have control. So I'm gonna hit the R key here, and I'll know when I hit the ground. And then I need to get rid of the slow fall effect, which is currently on me, like this. And then we can continue moving quickly. So it's kind of tricky. There we go. to see where you are, but there we go. We just zoomed across the landscape, and we ended up in our location where we wanted to be. Here we're gonna kung fu through the floor again. Like so. Fall through the floor, levitate, head this way, over to our quest person. Yep, this is totally Skyrim. This is Skyrim -3. So yes, totally. Alright, talk to her, set our teleport anchor, and then go do her quest thing. So there's very particular spots where the game can crash. I'm being very careful not to do stuff that will purposely make the game crash, because that's just kind of one of the things that you learn when speedrunning Daggerfall, is that here's the ways you can absolutely make the game crash 100%. And one of the ways that you can do that is, for the last 2 quests, is to hold down the travel key while clicking on a door. That causes like too much garbage to appear in the memory, and can just crash the game instantly. So you got to be careful about that when you're speedrunning. Okay. All right, like right there. If I had done the instant fast travel there, that would have ended in a crash. And since we're on a pretty okay run here, I want to make sure not to crash the game. Alright, so here's, this quest is the same every time, but there's one random element I need to pay attention during one of the text boxes that I get here to find out which dungeon I need to go to next. And I should also unlock my iPad. Jubith, okay. Alright, so the Cathedral of Jubith is where we're going. This is the coffin room below the entrance, or it's south and down. Alright, so for this, the next part of this is kind of like the werewolf quest, except nowhere near as random. I'm going to be looking for a mummy. Alright, Jubith is this one, I think. Yep. Alright, flip out of bounds again. Alright, so it should be that room right there to my left. There it is. Okay. Get those, we teleport back. Good. The way they made a lot of stuff, I mentioned before that Daggerfall isn't really random. It's only not random up to a point. So what they did was, for main quest dungeons, those are handmade. And they put together those dungeons, had gameplay designers actually map them out, and hand place stuff in them. And then what they did for random dungeons that were not like part of the main quest, they split up pieces, or they split up those main quest dungeons into pieces, and then use those building blocks to randomly and like procedurally put together the non-main quest dungeon. And they just had a computer assemble those for them. Which is why a lot of people get the idea that, oh, this Daggerfall's random every time you start up the game. Like, that's not quite the case. But when they were developing the game, that kind of was the case. Alright, this should get me through the floor. Please, please, please. Okay. Sometimes you can't get through the floor with that. So my splits for who gets the totem were very good in these. Well, actually, no, they weren't, because I made a mistake. Never mind. There's still potential to get a good time here. Alright, so here's another quest where we're doing kind of a sequence break. Normally, we would do a couple quests to get the fast travel location for one of the main story dudes. He's the dead king of Daggerfall. He's been spooking people from his crypt, but just like the place before, we can just jump there. The character portrait looks like Judge Dredd because it is Judge Dredd. We are the law right now. I hacked the game to put that that character model in, or that sprite. Because why wouldn't you want to play as the Law? Why wouldn't you? Alright, so there we did another kung fu through the through there. And it clips us downward so quickly, it actually put us on the roof of where we were supposed to enter the dungeon from. I don't know why it works like that, but good thing it does, because it's fast. Alright, so here we're gonna fly right on over to the quest objective. So here there's an FMV with the spooky Ghost King. And Spooky Ghost King essentially says, "Hey, go get vengeance for me. We gotta go kill the guy who killed the king." That's what we're gonna do now. Now we're gonna fly up to Lord Woodbourne, who's over here in his mansion by the lake. This mansion is also gonna be in the same place every time, but the triggers for this quest don't actually activate until you talk to the dead king. And the dude here doesn't spawn anyways. And I say dude, but the character model is female right now. And that's mostly because for Daggerfall quests, even named NPCs, they just say, "Hey, spawn a knight." And knights can be male or female in this game. Alright, Galamont Common. So this is another randomish thing. This is the last random element in the run. And we'll be good. Okay. So depending on if this is a large... Okay, we're just gonna YOLO this. I YOLO'd and I got it. Holy shit. Okay. Alright, that was complete YOLO strats, but it worked. Okay, so for this quest, we're going to go steal a totem from the treasure room of Castle Daggerfall. And then we're going to return it right back to the guy we stole it from. Because Daggerfall. Alright, and now we're off to the last mission in the game. And if I don't fuck this up, this will be a PB. And will actually be good enough for second place in Daggerfall. Assuming I don't fuck it up. Which is not a safe assumption. Alright, so here's the last mission. I gotta save here because we do kind of risky strats here. So there's a thing down there that will just completely blow you up, and it just blew me up! That's why you save the game. That's why you save. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, it didn't blow me up that time. We're good now. Ugh. So there's a thing there that can cast damage spells at you. And it just blew me up. But that's fine. So now we're going to fly out of bounds to the end of the dungeon. In the end of the dungeon is a power core. This, like, green stone thing. That is the power source for a giant golem. And that's kind of the end of the final quest for Daggerfall is... you need to give somebody control of this golem in Daggerfall. And whoever you give it to ends up, like, controlling the politics of the region. Anyways, once we see the text box pop up here, that'll be it. And this is kind of random when it appears. 2348. I'm pretty sure second place is 2347. I think. Chizu, you're gonna have to let me know what your time was. But anyways, that's the Daggerfall run, and that run went really good. Besides getting blown up, there's nothing I could have done about that. That's just that happens. Yep, cut the 24.
Great Comedian comes to the call of the Dragon of Daggerfall. The armies of Sentinel and Waywest fall like scattered leaves, leaving Daggerfall in secure control of the Yuliak Bay.
Alright, let me actually see. Speedrun.com/Daggerfall. Second place is 2352. So yeah, second place, got there. All right, I beat Shizu by 4 seconds. It looks like. All right, your work is done. The law. The world is no longer as it once was. Okay. Anyway, here's Bill Walton. Right here. Bill Walton is one of the quest NPCs. Okay. And then I have one more important thing to show. All cities random? No, they're not, actually. So the way that cities are generated, they're generated in, like, patterns. Here's a good example here. It's like, okay, we're going to Daggerfall anyways. Alright, this is important. Alright, there we go.
Hold! 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 Hold!
Alright, so anyways. The way that towns are constructed, there's a palace. Like right here, you see patterns like this in